Icarus, a survival game that promises stunning visuals, deep crafting, and intense survival mechanics. I played it back when it first launched in 2021, and honestly, I wasn't a fan. But in 2025, I decided to give it another shot. Did the updates fix my biggest complaints? Honestly, me just being picky about video games? Or is Icarus still a grind that could not capture my attention? Let's break it down. If you love game reviews from an average guy that plays games, hit that subscribe button for more. At its core, Icarus is a season-based survival game where you drop down on an alien planet, gather resources, craft gear, and survive harsh environments. On paper, it sounds like the perfect mix of No Man's Sky meets Rust. With a large open world to explore, and managing your hunger, thirst, oxygen, and stamina, and visuals that look stunning, Icarus has the potential to be a great game. But, in reality, does it hold up? From the start, the game looks incredible, but is that enough to capture my attention? Let's dig deeper. One of Icarus's biggest mechanics is its crafting system. At first, it feels like a deep survival experience, but the more I play, the more I realize just how much of a grind it really is. To unlock crafting blueprints, you need to level your character up. You do that by collecting materials, fighting, and crafting. For a solo player, it seems like it can take a long time to get anywhere. The crafting system itself is decent, but the fact that unlocking basic structures takes so much grinding really drags the experience down. It feels less like a survival and more like a leveling treadmill. Building your own base should be a highlight of any survival game, right? Well, kind of. Icarus has a solid construction system, snapping mechanics work well, and removing unwanted structures is quite easy. The base building is actually one of the better parts of the game, but the fact that it's locked behind skill points means you might waste early levels on other things before realizing you could have built your base sooner. You can't have a survival game without threats, and in Icarus, the wildlife is your biggest enemy. But is the combat satisfying? Animals react realistically, but can be clunky. Melee combat feels sluggish and not very responsive. You do have bows and guns, which do feel a lot better, but the guns require a lot of grinding. The combat just feels off. It's not unplayable, but there's definitely something missing. So when it comes to fighting the wildlife, the encounters feel more annoying than engaging. One thing I do actually like, the weather system. Dynamic storms, strong winds, and sudden changes in climate make the world feel alive. Thunderstorms feel intense, forcing players to seek shelter. It adds a layer of realism missing in other survival games. This is one of the game's best features, so I really have no complaints here. Some survival games focus on gameplay, while others mix in a deep story. But in Icarus, the story is, well, kind of lacking in my opinion. You have 3 gameplay styles to choose from. Open world, which is a persistent survival experience where you choose your drop-down point, you build a base, battle enemies and the weather across the entire map as long as you can. And you have missions, time-limited missions where you drop in fresh, you complete contracts, mine exotic matter, unlock unique item blueprints, and earn Ren to buy workshop items. After you completed your time-limited mission, you return to your pod and leave the planet. And then you have outposts, where you build risk-free in a small persistent map, expect calm weather, fewer enemies, and regenerating resources, but there is an XP reduction. If you're expecting a gripping sci-fi narrative like Subnautica or The Long Dark, you're out of luck. This game is more about grinding than it is immersion, in my opinion. So, After giving Icarus a second chance, do I still dislike it? Unfortunately, yes. It's not a bad game, but it's not for me. Here's my final breakdown. Visually, 9 out of 10. Absolutely gorgeous. Crafting, a 7 out of 10. Decent, but grind heavy. Combat, a 5 out of 10. Sluggish, and it's missing something. Base building, a 7 out of 10. Good mechanics, bad progression system. And story, unfortunately, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. There's not much to it. Overall rating, I'm going to give the game a 6.5 out of 10. A beautiful survival game held back by frustrating progression and a combat system that's missing something. Final recommendations: if you love slow-paced survival games with deep crafting, it might be for you. If you want fast-paced action or deep storytelling, you might need to skip this one. What do you think of Icarus? Have you played it recently? And do you feel the same way? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next video.